Welcome to the Up and About podcast. My name is Isabel. I'm your host, and we will be talking about all things mindset, wellness, lifestyle, womanhood, and personal development. Today we'll be talking about confidence, self-acceptance, limiting beliefs, and how to show up as your best self. So first of all, before we get into it, I'm so excited that you're here. This has been a long time dream of mine. If you don't know who I am, my name is Isabel. I'm a 26-year-old Filipina Canadian entrepreneur and creator. I'm absolutely obsessed with self-development, wellness, therapy, and overall relationships to ourselves. I'm the firstborn daughter of a Filipino-Canadian immigrant family. I'm 100% on a mission to break generational curses. And I really believe the best ways to do that is to share information, to be as open and honest as possible, and to not be afraid of vulnerability. If you're anything like me, you are an ambitious gal that has big dreams and will not let anything get in the way. Whatever your goals are, I hope that this podcast can help you reach them. And please let me know and connect with me if it does. I'd love to hear your feedback, and let's get into it. Oh my gosh, if you are in your mid-20s, you've probably experienced your second puberty, and your second puberty is this crazy phenomenon that literally happens almost out of nowhere. Your body changes, your mindset changes. Something happens when you hit the age of 25. I remember when I was younger and a lot of my older friends would say, oh, at 25 years old, you'll have your quarter-life crisis. It happens to everyone. And honestly, I didn't really understand what they meant until I got there, and I was like, oh, okay. We are reevaluating everything from our goals to what we really want in life to where we want to spend our time, our relationships. Almost everything changes, and I think this is the turning point for a lot of women in their mid-20s. Confidence truly comes from the inside. Today, I really wanted to talk about how to maintain, sustain, and create long-lasting inner confidence from the inside out. Showing up for yourself with high self-esteem, high self-worth. Confidence takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of discipline, internal motivation, and it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It's a muscle you need to exercise and practice, and it starts with self-acceptance. The first concept I wanted to talk about is called radical self-acceptance or radical acceptance. This concept is addressing and assessing a situation without judging yourself or judging others, and really seeing the situation for what it is. Truly at the root of this problem, a lot of this comes down to our negative self-talk and overall how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves. I personally still, myself, to this day, have a challenging time stopping myself during my tracks and being like, oh, Isabel, do not talk to yourself like that. We do not talk to ourselves like that here. And it is an active pattern of being mindful when it does happen to be able to change it. Perfect example is literally me starting this podcast. This is something I've wanted to start for years, and I was judging myself for not even starting it, and so it would actually delay the process even longer. My thoughts and spiraling would create this mental block, and it would stop me from actually wanting to do this podcast in the first place. Say, oh my gosh, what if this podcast flops? What if no one listens? And so all these mental blocks were self-judgments that would stop myself from truly wanting to start this podcast. And before you knew it, it became 2023. 4 years of mental blocks and self-judgments later, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see this for what it is. Radical self-acceptance is accepting where you are. And once you truly see things for what they are, without the emotions and without the self-judgments, it's really easy to accept the situation, choose what to do after you've learned your lesson from it. And that's it. This mindfulness takes a lot of practice, because if this is a pattern of yours, you're going to see it come up continuously in your life. Typically, when you see yourself spiraling or notice yourself spiraling, just take a really deep breath and tell yourself that this is it. This is exactly where you're going to break the pattern. This is where things are going to change, because nothing changes if nothing changes. Now, this is truly part of the work, because radical self-acceptance also runs deep. So despite negative self-judgments in those everyday situations in life that reoccur, it is so important to practice and make time for your inner healing and accepting who you are wholeheartedly, flaws and all. Now, if you're somebody like me, you probably grew up in a household where making mistakes was not good. Girl, this is a part of the work, because it is hard sometimes to accept those inner deepest parts of yourselves that you feel anger or hurt or shame, embarrassment even about. And that is part of the work of radical self-acceptance, is owning who you are fully, wholeheartedly, and learning to love those sides of you that you keep deep down inside. This work is called shadow work, and if you love journaling, this is part of your subconscious self-expression. Shadow work is the side of you that you typically do not express to anybody else, or you keep hidden inside. A lot of people compress the sides of themselves, and unfortunately, if they don't explore the side of themselves, the expression comes out in unhealthy ways. If you look up shadow work prompts, there are so many types of questions that you can ask yourself and explore. A lot of the shadow work exercises truly help you with self-compassion, self-exploration, deep introspection, and I know will improve your relationship with yourself and also your loved ones. Some beginner prompts, if you've never done this work before, include: if you were to write a memoir about your life, what would you say? What's something that you're often afraid to admit to others? What kind of things do you think about yourself as less than? There are so many prompts related to your career, trauma, inner child work, spirituality that you can really just dive into when you do your journaling exercises or work. But I promise you, not shying away from shadow work will truly help build your self-confidence, self-acceptance, and learn more about yourself. Being aware of your shadow will help you embrace who you are wholeheartedly and will help you show up in the world without shame for who you are and just owning your story, owning who you are, and showing up as yourself authentically. Let me tell you, when I was going through my second puberty, it was truly one of the hardest times in my life. There were so many changes that were happening for me. It was my first time moving out of my parents' house and also moving in with my boyfriend. It was my first time truly doing things on my own. It was my first time exploring the city that I love. And I started to challenge all these limiting beliefs that I had about myself, who I could be. And I used to be so nervous about doing things alone. I would always have a +1 by my side when I attended networking events. I would always question myself if I truly wanted something, even though deep in my gut, I always wanted to try something new or experience something new. And I would stop myself from experiencing all these new things because I was scared to be alone. Limiting beliefs are so dangerous because they truly block what your gut intuition desires. And I really believe as women, we have this intuitive and special sacred relationship with our intuition and our gut feelings that are always 100% right. A lot of my limiting beliefs came from a scarcity mindset and came from a mindset of lack and fear. Knowing the root cause of those limiting beliefs truly made me realize that all of these limiting beliefs are something I could change. It's a choice to change. It's a choice to decide that yes, I actually want to try this exercise class by myself, or I want to explore these sides of myself and meet new relationships, meet new friendships, meet new people, and step outside of my comfort zone. But all of this comes down to a choice and a mindset. And so I challenge you to question what your limiting beliefs are and where do they come from? Is it a belief that somebody has placed inside your head when you were younger and you just ran with it because you never questioned it? Is it a fear, or is it an emotion that stops you from doing what you really want to do? Are you self-sabotaging? Does it come from a place of being uncomfortable? And so it's more comfortable to limit yourself and to stay small. One thing that I practiced going through this period of my life was when I did challenge those limiting beliefs, I would always write down the outcomes. First time ever, I wanted to try a reformer Pilates class. I went by myself for the first time. I had no idea who was going to be there. I've never tried it before. And so it was a completely new experience for me. I got out of my head because I really, really wanted to do it. And so when I did the first class, it was so challenging, but I felt so proud of myself for doing it. And soon that feeling got so addictive. It got so addictive to the point where I was like, you know what? Yeah, I could do anything by myself. I started going to friendship events by myself. I started going to networking events by myself. I started going to classes all by myself. And I started learning all these new skills by myself. And through challenging my limiting beliefs that I couldn't do things by myself, it made me realize that, yeah, you know what? I can. And I did. And it wasn't that scary. And so slowly exposing myself to challenging these limiting beliefs and realizing, wow, that actually wasn't that bad, was a common practice of getting out of my comfort zone. And so that really, really helped to build my confidence. And I think that is something, if you've never tried, try it. It doesn't have to be something big like trying a workout class right away. It could be something like, oh, maybe my limiting belief is I am scared of being a content creator and I'm afraid of what people will think of me, and I'm afraid of what I will think of me if I posted my creativity and I showed up to a space online that I've never done before. But I challenge you to do it once, and then to do it twice, and to do it 3 times, and slowly progress and track how it feels afterwards, to listen to that gut feeling, to listen to that intuitive feeling, because I promise you, once you start becoming proud of yourself, that feeling will replace the feeling of being scared. And it will become addictive to feel proud of yourself. It will become addictive to see results. It will become addictive to show up as who you've always truly wanted to be and as your authentic self. And slowly that will build confidence through time. I almost want you to talk to yourself like you are your best friend or somebody you absolutely love, because you would never talk to your loved ones like that. I promise you, honey. You are so special, and there is nobody out there like you. And so you deserve to treat yourself with the utmost respect, the utmost compassion, and the utmost love. I don't think you can really love yourself without embracing your imperfections or flaws, quotes unquote, because truly all these flaws, once you embrace them, they will become your superpower. It is your strength. The way to embrace your flaws is to practice self-compassion. For me, making small mistakes, I honestly thought it would be the end of the world. Even in high school, getting a C or a B was just completely unacceptable. And if you're an overachiever, you know exactly what I mean. I was always taught that excellence is a standard and that it must be practiced every single day. There is no space for mistakes. And so making a mistake was probably one of the worst things I can do in my entire life. Despite this, I knew that being a perfectionist was completely holding me back. It was holding me back from making mistakes. It was holding me back from growing. And also, making mistakes is a part of life. There is no perfection. Perfection is subjective. It looks different to everyone, and it doesn't exist. I don't think you know one person in their life that thinks that they're perfect. And so that's what makes us human, and it's part of the human experience. And so love it. Love your mistakes. If you do make a mistake, that you do try something that's out of your comfort zone and it didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Well, practicing self-compassion looks like hugging yourself and saying, good job, I did that. I had a really hard time trying to do that. It was something completely new to me. It was out of my comfort zone, but I did it, and I'm proud of myself for even trying. Being vulnerable with yourself and open and honest with yourself is so important to practice self-compassion. Even looking at yourself in the mirror and saying affirmations out loud. I know it sounds silly, but once you start doing it and talking to yourself like somebody you absolutely love and embrace and cherish, it will change, and you will give yourself permission and space to be human. It will also give you space to embrace your imperfections and recognize that not everything is perfect, and that's okay, and you need that. Again, radical acceptance. You just accept where you are, who you are at the time and stage of your life. It's important to address that, yes, because we accept ourselves and we love ourselves and we accept and embrace who we are, we also need to create boundaries for ourselves. Now, when was the last time that you truly lied to yourself, that you betrayed yourself, that you told yourself that you were going to start tomorrow and you didn't? Because every time that you betray yourself or you lie to yourself, you need to ask yourself, is that truly treating myself with love and compassion? Is that truly showing up for myself every time I say that I'm going to do something, but I don't? Don't get me wrong. It's very important to accept who you are, but it's incredibly important to set healthy boundaries with yourself. Because if this is somebody that you love and you treat yourself like somebody you respect and love, you will always want the best for yourself. And so if these are your goals, yes, it might take time to overcome a mental block. Yes, we have to get over the self-judgment. Yes, it might take a little bit longer than it needs to, but eventually your body will tell you it is time to step it up. We are not self-sabotaging anymore. It is time to show up as the best version of you. And the best version of you stops lying to herself, stops procrastinating things, and just does it. I know you know that feeling of self-betrayal. I know you can feel it deep in your gut when you are not aligned with your values, when you're not aligned with the goals that you set for yourself, when you're not aligned with your mission and your vision. It hurts, and that's truly your body and your subconscious mind telling you enough is enough. We are respecting ourselves. We are setting those boundaries in place because that's what you do for someone you love. You show up and you make sure that you are the best version of yourself for them. In order to do this, you also need to be your biggest cheerleader, your biggest supporter, and root for yourself. Know that you can do it. Truly believe that you can do it. I know you can. We are all on this growing and learning journey together, and so you're not alone. Finding a community of amazing people that will help you be accountable to your vision and mission and goals in life is truly the key, which is exactly why I wanted to create this community and podcast. Self-confidence takes a lot of work and discipline and sacrifice, and I truly believe that's why a lot of people are not confident, because it takes so much time and energy and practice. The more that you practice coming out of your comfort zone, the more that you practice aligning with your goals, the more that you practice following your gut intuition and feeling, the more that you practice embracing your flaws, the more that you practice being self-aware and doing the work to accept those deepest part of yourselves, accepting your demons, accepting what you can't change, but also working on what you can change and making that active choice to become the woman that you want to be. Ooh, it's very, very powerful and hard work, but you know what? It's the most fulfilling thing that you can ever do. And the more that you do it and talk about it, the more you'll attract the most amazing people, the most brightest people in your life that will bring that energy and reciprocate that energy back to you. And before you know it, you'll have a podcast in 4 years and talk about your self-acceptance and confidence journey. But truly, this means the world to me. It means the world to me to see you challenging your limiting beliefs and seeing young women prosper and grow and go for exactly what they want. Especially for women, confidence is so important. It's such an important quality to walk in the world and truly understand the value that you bring as a woman into your relationships, into the space that you walk in, into the career that you want, and owning who you are. Knowing your worth truly prevents yourself from getting into dangerous situations like being taken advantage of in terms of getting paid less than your worth, in terms of dating bad men and having really traumatic relationships, in terms of preventing friendships that are truly not your friends and are out here wanting the worst for you. Also, knowing that you can achieve anything you put your heart into and you can achieve your dreams. I am so excited to be on this journey with you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm excited to have this amazing platform and just cultivate super meaningful and honest and vulnerable relationships with you. There will be a new episode every week, and so don't forget to subscribe. Let me know your feedback, and please connect with me on Instagram if you can at Isabel, YZOBEL. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and thank you for listening. See you soon.